Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. I want to right now talk about some of the undrafted free agents that the Saints have signed. We're not going to go through the entire list because that's a bit of a futile exercise. Undrafted free agents are a huge part of the NFL as a whole. But if you look team to team, you're not looking at six guys who you think that are undrafted are going to make the team. You're looking for a guy here or there that can maybe fill a role as an undrafted free agent. And so that's kind of what we're looking for here. And I'll run through some of the lists of the ones that were more exciting to me. Number one on this list is not even close to number two. I don't know who number two on this list is in terms of intriguing prospects to me, but number one is easy. And that's Dallin Holker. Dallin Holker is a tight end from Colorado State. 6'4", 235 pounds, not necessarily a massively imposing tight end figure, but a good frame. He played 3 years at BYU, also did his mission. So you're looking at a player that is 24 years old upon entering the NFL draft. In his 1 year at Colorado State, he was really productive. 64 catches, 167 yards, and 6 touchdowns. He was a second-team All-American by 5 different outlets. I think you'll have very little trouble guessing who the first-team All-American tight end was. That, of course, Brock Bowers over in Athens. So Holker was the second-team All-American by a number of publications. If you'll recall that Colorado State-Colorado game early in the season, it was a track meet back and forth. Holker had a big game that day, had a couple of touchdown catches, including one on a trick play in the back of the end zone. He was a finalist for the Mackey Award. So I feel like because the Saints have, I don't know if a need at tight end, but a potential upgrade here or there at tight end. You realize last year you had Juwan Johnson do some work there. Foster Moreau was available at times. You know what you've got in Taysom Hill as well. And we thought maybe the Saints go with Brock Bowers in the first round. In no way do I think Dallin Holker is on Brock Bowers' level. But I do think in an offense that's looking for some pass catchers, this is an older, mature player who was super productive at Colorado State that I think has a chance to make this team. I wouldn't, stake my next paycheck on it, but I feel like this is a guy who, based on production, measurables, age, I feel like probably should have been a draft pick. And the Saints prioritized him and made him an undrafted free agent signing. I think this is a really good one for New Orleans. That's number one for sure on my list. I'll go through some other ones that caught my eye. Trajan Jeffcoat is a name that you'll know if you're an LSU and SEC football fan. He was at Arkansas this past year, at Missouri for 3 years before that. Big outside rusher, 6'4", 265 pounds, 60 games between Missouri and Arkansas in SEC competition. 60 games. As a senior at Arkansas, 8.5 tackles for loss, had 4 sacks. He led Arkansas in quarterback pressures and hurries. That's a spot the Saints didn't necessarily do a ton to upgrade in the NFL draft. Jeffcoat didn't strike me in college as an elite level talent, but he's big, he's physical. He did make some plays behind the line of scrimmage last year. I don't know that I would rule him out as a chance for a practice squad guy or someone who could theoretically make the team on a defensive front. Mason Tipton is a wide receiver from Yale. He's 5'11", 187 pounds, so a shorter slot guy, but big-time speed. This is kind of in the Rashid Shaheed mold, so maybe you've already got that box checked, but he's third in Yale history in career receiving touchdowns. He was a 3-time All-Ivy League performer, and he ran really fast, 4.33 in the 40 for a undersized receiver. Again, it's kind of in the Shaheed role, so maybe not, but you're looking to add to that receiver room. I liked what I saw when I kind of did some digging on Mason Tipton as well. Local product for the New Orleans Saints. They go to Tulane and get Sincere Haynesworth. I love this signing because this is a guy who understands how to play the offensive line position. He started 43 games at center at Tulane. He was the Americans Offensive Lineman of the Year. Tulane won a lot of games. He played center for a really good quarterback in Michael Pratt. He's durable. He's got pretty good size. The Saints need help on the offensive line. Not necessarily as much on the interior, but you're always looking for offensive linemen that can help. And like Haynesworth's not going to be a combine all-star, but this is a guy who played on a couple really good Tulane teams, has started for 4 years basically at the center position. I think this is a nice ad that you can find from a local guy who comes in and can maybe challenge for a spot on your active roster. Another local product, actually from here in Baton Rouge, took a kind of a circuitous route to the New Orleans Saints, and that's Jacob Kibodi. He was a Christian Life product here in Baton Rouge, went to Texas A&M, then to Incarnate Word, then to Louisiana Lafayette, where he had a pretty productive final college season at Louisiana Lafayette, 5.7 yards per carry at ULL. My only concern with Kibodi here, he only caught 12 balls in 3 college seasons as a primary back. That's a really, really small number. So if you're looking for a little bit of versatility from somebody in this undrafted class, I don't know that Kibodi necessarily gives you that. We don't know what the Saints running back room is going to look like. Feel like Alvin Kamara will be back and hopefully is a little more productive than he was this past year. Williams was kind of a bust last year, and then you didn't really see anything from your rookie tailback who spent most of the time being hurt. So feels like there is opportunity there for somebody to come in and push to be a depth piece. Maybe Jacob Kibodi is that guy. And then the last one is at a spot that the Saints were poor at last year. There's really no way to say it otherwise, and so you want to bring in some competition there, and that's at punter. And so if I were to tell you were going to grab an SEC punter and you wanted to get the guy that had the most experience, wouldn't you go to Vanderbilt? That guy spends a lot of time punting. So that's where they find Matt Hayball. He was Vanderbilt's punter this past year. He's another Australia product, and you bring him in to compete with Lou Hedley. I didn't realize this until I read it over on my Saints Wire story that I was reading. Hedley was last in the NFL in hang time last year. That's not great. This is a sport and a league that cherishes those hidden yards, that cherishes special teams yards. And when you're last in the NFL in hang time, like, that's a real problem. So not that Hayball was a great hang time guy at Vanderbilt. He actually was not. But he's got a big leg, and you bring in a little bit of competition at the very least and see what you can do. Thomas Morstead's still bouncing around the league punting. Saints trying to do some things on the cheap on the punting side of things. They've got to be better punting the football this coming year than they were this past year. So that's a look at kind of the undrafted free agents that have caught my eye. Dallin Holker, tight end from Colorado State. Trajan Jeffcoat, an edge player from Arkansas. Mason Tipton, a slot speedy wide receiver from Yale. Sincere Haynesworth, a stalwart on the Tulane offensive line at center. Jacob Kibodi, running back from Louisiana Lafayette. And then Matt Hayball, a punter from Vanderbilt. I think those are some guys that do make a lot of sense as you move into OTAs and rookie minicamp and then towards training camp. Maybe a guy or two that could make the active roster there from your undrafted free agents. I've talked about this at length, at nauseum, broken record, whatever cliche you want to toss in there. I've done it. They've got to get cheaper and they've got to get younger. And you've got your draft picks that you've taken. You're going to try to take care of those guys and find a way to make them part of your team. The undrafted free agents can be the exact same thing and for very, very cheap. So we'll see what those guys can do as they head into rookie minicamp here in the coming weeks. We'll talk Sharif Ishak about it coming up here at the bottom of hour number 2. We'll take it. Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.